I'm going to show you something real quick, and then I want to talk to you about it and tell you about the practical applications. So before you get salty, watch this clip and let's have a real conversation about this. Hold on.
Republicans in Congress have introduced a new bill which would strip all federal funding, that's loans, grants, everything, from any medical school that acknowledges systemic racism or has a diversity office at all. This is called H.R. 3518, and it's getting very little coverage. And it essentially says if a medical school talks about privilege or racism or health disparities along diversity lines, which is very real, by the way, they lose funding, period.
Now, before we get started in this conversation, I know some of you will have the inclination to tell me that I need to stick to hair because I'm a hairstylist, I'm a cosmetologist. So, per your request, I'm going to stick with hair, skin, and nails and discuss how this is going to affect people moving forward. Not even just how it's going to affect people moving forward, but how it affects people currently, because there's already not enough education in this space. My ex-wife and my 2 daughters, all of which are black, by the way, have a condition where they're allergic to the sun. It's called polymorphic light eruption, or PMLE. When you look at PMLE, it does not look the same on melanated and highly melanated skin as it does on light skin. Matter of fact, let me show you what it looks like when you Google search it. I want you to see if you notice any patterns as we scroll through here. Okay, just have a look. This is PMLE. This is as a result of being out in the sun for extended periods of time with no sunscreen on, usually minimal hydration, no coverage over the arms, things like that with your clothes, all that. It's a very real condition, very uncomfortable and painful, can lead to vomiting, diarrhea, all sorts of stuff. You should really read up. This is what it looks like on melanated skin. Okay? Do you know how many highly melanated people have been diagnosed with eczema and they had this here? Psoriasis and had this here because the symptoms can look very similar, or have just been told, oh, you have heat rash. Baby, like same situation. And guess what pictures show up when you look in the dermatology books, when you look in the health books, when you look in the aesthetics books? Not this. On skin like my complexion, it looks like this here. Okay? Like, it does not look the same. This is but one condition. Now, I want you to consider conditions like melanoma, eczema, psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis. The list goes on and on. And this is literally just in the space of skin. This is not even dealing with other health conditions that present differently in people of color. Telling a medical school that they cannot teach on the differences and medical disparities that people of color deal with, black people specifically, is not only harmful, it could literally kill people. So next time that you want to tell somebody that they're too political, and by somebody in this instance, I mean me. Next time that you tell somebody that they should just stick to hair content, stick to X content, whatever the case may be, baby, this is my area of expertise. And you know what the interesting thing is? In the instance of my ex-wife and my 2 daughters, do you know who realized that they were allergic to the sun? Not the doctor, the cosmetologist. Why? Because I was more experienced with dealing with melanated skin than their doctors were. Because all of the information that they had learned dealt with photos that did not look like the reality that my family members lived with and dealt with. And it took years worth of my daughter being sick, vomiting, diarrhea, headaches, dehydration, all of that, nearly being hospitalized due to being out in the sun for us to realize what was going on. She was a baby. Okay? Please, I need some of y'all who act like everything doesn't tie into race to just shut your funky ass mouth and just lead with curiosity. Lead with curiosity. What do you mean? How could that tie into racism? That should be your lead, not stop trying to make everything about race. If you lead with stop trying to make everything about race, you are a walking red flag. And that's all I got to say. Have a great day. Love you. Bye. Hope you learned something. By the way, thank you, David Pakman, for this clip.